was probably in Colorado when I was in my early teens, and I don't know, there was a pool room right next to the malt shop that us kids used to hang around in, and I just kind of gravitated towards it, and I don't know, I was fascinated by it, but one day I skipped school, and the pool room owner, the Kidding Heart, kicked my ass out of there, and then I got another good whipping when I got home. I think you guys may have heard all that, but anyway, I didn't. That ended pool for a while until we moved to Durango, Colorado, which was about 50 miles east, and then there was no keeping me out of there because there was 3 real bustling pool rooms there at that time, and they. I opened and closed them, when I was in school, but I was like 14 or 15. And there was an old guy that owned the pool room named Fred Titus that kind of helped me along a little bit. And pretty soon, I didn't need any more help. And I guess at that time, I was considered the best player in Durango at that time. I was like 16, 17.
Wow.
And it was a small town, 10,000 or something like that. But I really thought that I was the best pool player in the world because there was no challengers, there was nobody that could beat me. As soon as I went to Denver and Albuquerque and some of those big cities, I found out there was a lot of people that could beat me.
Yeah, a lot of good players. Who was the best player besides yourself in that area?
I really didn't have a lot of competition. There was no, Durango's kind of off the beaten path. There was no road hustlers coming in there or anything like that. It was just me and the local town folks. There was, the most popular games were, we played Kelly pool for like 10 and 15 cents,
Mm-hmm.
This is 50s we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And, well, they used to play golf though. Golf on a snooker table. They used to play for $1 and dime a scratch. That's big money.
Yeah.
So I gravitated towards that, and I became a pretty good golf player. But there's not a lot of action at golf, only in certain areas. But I gravitated towards golf and 9-ball. It was about all I played all through my formative years. I didn't start playing one pocket until it was probably pretty close to 26, 28, something like that. I knew how to play pool, but I didn't know savvy one pocket,
Yeah, you hadn't gotten to that stage.
Yeah.
So I take it you didn't really have a pool mentor.
No, I really didn't, other than the old guy I just told you about was the old guy that showed me a few things, and
got you kind of going.
Got me kind of going, and no, I didn't have any professional. He was not a professional. He was just a nice old guy that owned a pool room. I was really kind of naive. Even when I first moved to San Jose, I was really not, I wasn't a hustler. I was never a hustler.
Yeah, you just wanted to play the best.
I just wanted to play, and do the best I could. And so I took a lot of beatings, but I had a lot of situations where I could have won a lot of money if I'd hustled right. If I had laid down or played on the lemon. I just went ahead and bored them right in there,
Yeah.
So consequently, but eventually I learned, over the years I learned how to hustle a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though I was never very good at it. I was just never very good at it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play. I didn't give a shit about it.
Yeah, and usually playing the best guy, you're going to get the most
sure.
money playing somebody who's the best player.
That's exactly right. All the entire Bay Area was covered with pool rooms. They all had their own hometown champion.
Yeah.
And it was pretty sweet for a while.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's like, Fred and I get in this conversation all the time about that. If you're a scuff, if you're a hardcore scuff, that's fine.
That's
hardcore hustling is, that's what you want to do. I never really got into hardcore hustling.
Yeah.
I mean, I was more sucker than I was anything else because
You like to play the best guys, right? You like to
Well,
play good
it wasn't
players.
so much that. It was just that I never really had a killer instinct.
Uh-huh.
In fact, one of my earliest remembrances of this back in San Jose in late 50s or something like that. I'm out hustling pool. I'm at the Garden City Billiards and hustling pool, trying to make a buck, and ain't got no money. And finally, I catch this guy. He's a baby sailor, what we used to call a baby sailor, Jesus. And no, he wasn't a sailor. He was in the Army. Anyway, long story short, I bust him out of his mustering out pay. It's like $450 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And guy never whimpered, never whined, never did nothing. I mean, he had no chance. He couldn't play at all. So, oh, let me buy you a drink, so I buy him a drink. And he says, and this was not a story. He says, God damn, I don't know what I'm going to do now. So what do you mean? So, I live in Missouri. I don't have enough money for a bus ticket. I said, oh. Long story short, he had a wife and a kid back there.
Yeah.
Just mustered out of the Army. I gave him all his money back. Not most of it, I gave it all back.
Yeah.
I just never was really that much of a killer. I just never had that much of a killer instinct. And I've always been proud of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I should be proud or not, but it makes me look like a sucker to guys like, a lot of fools.
Yeah,
It makes me look like a sucker. But I don't care. I don't care. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you didn't have the internet. You didn't have none of that stuff, Plus, one of the things that, in my opinion, that really killed pool, gambling pool, was credit cards. Pretty soon, all these traveling salesmen and people that were floating around,
with cash in their pockets, right?
they didn't have any cash anymore. They had credit cards,
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So that kind of put a little kibosh on winning a lot of cash, because the guy, whatever he had in his pocket, he'd usually go off for.
Yeah.
Well, when they had started with credit cards, you were lucky if you had $88 in his pocket, or $80 or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of the way that was. I want to get one thing straight, real quick. Okay. Most of the people on onepocket.org or yourself have heard this Ronnie story.
Yeah, the one that's online.
Yes.
The one that he's telling. Okay.
Yeah, the one where he's online. It's kind of comical how that came about. He's telling the truth right up to the point where he meets Richie up in San Francisco, and he redeems his pinky ring. Then Ronnie, everything's multiplied by 12. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the fun part is when he says, "Oh, this guy beat you. Let's go down there and beat him." Well, all the rest of that turns into really a lot of funny stuff. First of all, I didn't play Richie 9-ball. I mean, I didn't play him one pocket. We played 9-ball. So we played. And little shit played pretty good, too, I'll tell you that. He had me stuck like 3 or 4 games at 50 a game.
Now, this is Richie Florence. Right?
Richie Florence, yeah. But eventually, I had enough experience that no 16-year-old kid's going to beat me. So I wind up busting him. And that's when Ronnie found him up in Cochran's. I said, well, let's go back there. Well, this is where he gets into the story about they won so much money that they couldn't carry it. They couldn't stuff it all in their pockets. Well, that's not quite true. First of all, Ronnie tells the story that we played one pocket. Well, we never did play one pocket. Neither Richie or him. Okay? I got Ronnie in a golf game, giving him the one hole. I destroyed it. They went broke. I loaned them money to get to L.A.
Yeah, because one ball's a small spot.
One hole's
a
decent spot playing golf.
Yeah.
But anyway, the bottom line is, according to Ronnie, that's not the way it happened. Well, this is what I'm telling you is the way it happened.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, he didn't have to worry about pulling any 100s out of his pocket to pay his fine. He said something about it. He had a bunch of tickets or something, and he had to pay a fine. We didn't have to worry about pulling the 100s out because the only thing I had was the $60 I gave him to get to LA. So that's not a big deal. But let me, in fairness to Ronnie, where I think he might be confused is the next time he came up, he did win pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, he did. He busted me playing one pocket, giving me 9-7. I had no prayer. I already knew that he had won the one pocket tournament up in San Francisco.
He was at the top of his game.
He was in dead stroke. But bottom line is, he won some money there. But of course, Richie wasn't with him. He snuck back on his own,
Yeah.
But he had a stake horse, and so anyway, bottom line is he won that session, and then we didn't play each other for a while. And the next time we played, he wouldn't give me 9-7 anymore. It was 8-7. He didn't win there.
Yeah.
He didn't win at 8-7. But we seesawed for a while. We went 9-8, 8-7, 11-8. We just jacked around for quite a while. That's why we played so many years. I've been playing that guy for 50. He always brags about it. 51 years we've been playing.
Yeah.
So, and I would have to say it, to be honest, he's probably ahead a little bit. He's ahead a little bit, but not a lot. We eventually got the game down to where it was pretty even. Well, I've had several wins against Ronnie that I was pretty proud of. They weren't always even. They were usually weighted. I was usually getting weight. But as I learned one pocket, the more I learned, the less weight I got.
Yeah, because you were mainly a 9-ball player.
Yeah, and and Ronnie was a pretty seasoned one pocket player. And even though I played him a lot, I mean, I say I played him a lot, we'd play maybe, I'd say once every couple months or something like that, when he come to town. But in the interim, I had got to play no one pocket because there was no other one pocket players in town. In fact, when I moved to Phoenix in 71 or 2, nobody played one pocket here.
Yeah.
I got them all geared for one pocket. That was, Scott's really got them geared now, but I mean, that was the one that kind of started playing one pocket.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, everybody was playing it. It just seemed like everybody was playing it.
Yeah, because as soon as you start playing the game, it's pretty addicting.
It's gonna get. You're gonna get hooked on it. And that's all they played here was golf and one pocket at that stage at the time. 9-ball occasionally, but one pocket became probably the most popular game.
All right. And what was and then there was a question about I guess you could say your biggest or most memorable loss playing pool.
It'd probably also be Ronnie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's nailed it pretty good a couple times.
Yeah, you guys have a pretty long history.
Oh yeah, we have a long history. I have, I would say both my biggest loss and my biggest wins were with Ronnie.
Yeah.
however we were playing it, whatever we were doing at the time. Just Ronnie used to be really hard to deal with in that if the last time we played, I beat him. Let's say I beat him, give me 8-7 or 9-8 or whatever he's giving me. Now he knows he can get by with a lesser spot, so he'd come by himself. He'd wait till he got pumped up, he'd come by himself.
Yeah.
And I could always tell that. If he came with a backer, he was ready to give me anything I wanted.
You can get a really sweet game.
So a lot of times I cut him off balance a few times. I'll tell you
You got a ton of them, but
I have a ton of them, but I'm drifting into senility. The problem is remembering most of them. I have had some really great experiences and very few awkward ones. Very few. I tend to get along with people all right. That's not saying I haven't had any, but I've had very few compared to somebody that's boisterous and braggadocious and all that. I've never.
Their mouths is liable to get in a little more trouble, right?
I got to tell you the funniest story.
Okay.
That a lot of times I was on my own. I would just traveling around, whatever, and hustle and pull. And so I drifted into this bar one time. There's 4 or 5 guys in there, and they're playing, I don't know, $1, $2, $8 ball, whatever they're playing. And so I drift in there and I take the place off, probably for $20, $30. And buying drinks and we're having fun, and the guys are all appreciate the fact that I play good pool. Nobody's upset.
Yeah.
In comes this guy, drunker than a skunk. I mean, this guy could hardly walk. And he says, what's going on here? What are you guys playing for? And these guys all knew him. He was a local. He said, well, we were playing for $2, Joe, but you're too drunk. You can't play this guy. He's got the table. Joe says, bullshit. What do you mean I can't play him? And he fumbles around. He drops a couple of quarters. He finally gets one in the slot, And these guys are all telling him, Joe, please, don't play the guy. You can't beat him. Oh, shit, So anyway, bottom line is, he finally gets the balls racked. Took about 10 minutes to rack the balls. So I break the balls. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to beat this guy for nothing. We break the balls. Now it's his shot. I didn't make anything on the break. And Joe says, and I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think, you want to punch me in the nose or something like that. That's what I thought he was trying to say. And finally, one of the other guys says, what the hell's the matter, Joe? Joe says, I got something in my eye. He couldn't even find his eye.
Oh, man.
That's one of the funnier things.
Yeah.
One of the worst situations that I ever ran up against, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
But there was a guy, when I first came to Arizona, there was a guy named Dollar Jack Ryan. He's quit playing pool. He's now a poker player. But he was a good scuffler, and he knew where the money was. So one time, he says, hey, there's a guy up in Safford, Arizona. It's 150 miles. Owns a joint, and he will go off. He will lose some money. So we get all pumped up, get ready to go. And drove up there. Guy's gone deer hunting. He's going to be gone for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That was the end of that spot. So we're driving back through, we hit a little town, Globe, Arizona. We hit a little town, and there's a nightclub kind of thing off to the right. We see there's 1,000 cars there. So we stopped in there. Well, 3 bar tables. $2, $5, 8 ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe pick enough to pay for the trip. Well, pretty soon they got their town champion, and we're playing 10 a game, and he's betting like 10 or 20 on the side.
Yeah, that's pretty good money then, right?
Yeah. So, bottom line is, I wind up. Finally, there was so much action that the bartender or the bar owner came over and turned the light off. Says, "That's enough. You guys are done." We were throwing fucking money all over. Oops, excuse me. Throwing money all over the place. So, Jack's probably got whatever he started with plus a couple hundred. I got whatever I started with plus a couple hundred.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter what race these people were. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. But they were almost all Chicanos. That's all that lived up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we go to leave. It's wintertime. We go to leave, and there's some kind of ice and snow around it. We're in the second row. And we, as we came out the door, for some reason or other, he went around one side of a car, and I went around the other side. And I heard,
oh boy.
I heard somebody's chamber automatic. And Jack was not a fighter. Give him the money! Give him the money! You know,
Yeah.
So I don't even get to find out what's going on. I get whacked in the back of the head. So I'm down there laying in the snow. And this coolest Mexican kid I've ever seen in my life. He was in control of everybody.
Yeah.
He's got this gun pointed at me. He says, "These people cannot afford to lose this money. You have to give the money back." I said, "Okay, no problem."
Yeah.
I said, "Give the money back." I said, "I don't have to give my money back." "No, you don't have to give your money back. Just give the money back that you won." So now he looks at the guys and he says, "I lose 500, I lose 800, I lose 7,000. You know what they're going to say.
Yeah.
They're going to say whatever they want to say. So he is so cool, though. He says, "No, Joe, you didn't lose that much. No, Joe." I said, "Well, I'll tell you how much I won her." I fumble around, and I had probably 300 when I started, and I probably got 5 now. I fumbled around, so I won $220. He says, "Okay, give it to me." And Jack's going through the same thing.
Yeah.
"Okay, give it to me." He takes my 220 or 30, whatever it was, and he gets up, and he starts feeding it out to the other guy's feeding it out to Jack. He says, "Okay,
Yeah.
see you later."
Just like that, huh?
Never took a dime of our money.
Yeah.
Never took a dime of our money. This guy was so in control. I guarantee if he wasn't in control, these guys would have killed us and took every dime we had, plus our car probably.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the most awkward spots I've ever been in.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Been in a few others, but they didn't hold a candle to that.
Yeah.
There was one other time that I was somewhere in Louisiana, and well, I was with my buddy Mike James, and it was one of those deals where we're kind of on the road. We're in Louisiana, but we're on the road a little bit, and Mike knows this guy. He says, this guy's okay. He's a little goofy, but he knows some good spots. So he gets us a spot down in Houma, Louisiana. He gives us a spot. Well, he should not have gone in there. He should never have gone in there. It was a busy kind of supper club type deal. And I get the right guy down. I get the guy I'm supposed to get down. And we're doing okay. We're winning this or winning that. And all of a sudden, boom! I mean, fucking uproar in the main part of the dance floor. Well, the guy that brought us there apparently had some real bad problem with the guy that owned the joint. He's got a gun to his head. He says, I don't know if I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
Suck my dick, or I'm going to blow your head off. That's, now, that wasn't me there, it was this guy that brought us there.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, I think the owner was getting ready to head back this way too anyway.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty awkward spot. It was a pretty awkward spot. But Mike knows his way around there pretty good, so he got us out of that. There's hundreds of things that, not hundreds, but I mean, there's a lot of things that happen to you when you're running up down the road, especially back in the days when there was cash involved.
Yeah, when you're winning somebody's money,
Yeah.
it makes them get a little
I've had some awkward spots,
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Cochran's was one of a kind. I'm sure, the guys talk about Benzinger's in Chicago and all that, and I'm sure that was a great room and a lot of action and all that.
Yeah. I've heard about the Rack, someplace.
The Rack in Detroit, that was where the big action was. Yeah.
And New York would have been the 7-Eleven.
Yeah. But for all around everyday action, it's awful tough to beat Cochran's because, I mean, these other places I hear about, like New York or Chicago, unless somebody drifted into town, there was not a lot of action.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of big money action. I mean, in fact, they talk about it still today. You hear the Ghost and Freddie talk about, $200 would be a big score in Chicago now.
Yeah, they weren't, skinning each other.
Yeah.
They weren't playing one another.
But Cochran's there was always something going on, 24 hours a day. Somebody would be playing high at some point.
And what kind of room was it? Was it like a pretty big pool room?
Oh yeah, it was good size. I don't remember exactly how many tables. I would say there's probably 40.
Yeah.
There was a couple of billiard tables and a 6x12 snooker table and a 5x10 snooker table, and they had something for everybody. However you want to match up, you could do it. That was where I finally I honed my one pocket game a little bit.
Yeah.
I played guys, Nanas and Rusty Jones, Sleepy Bob. There was Sam Crotcher. There was a ton of good one pocket players there.
Now, this was on 4.5 by 9 foot
Yeah.
tables. The 5 by 10s were gone.
Well, no. Still
Some.
a lot of 5x10 action. In fact, there were 2 or 3 guys that I played almost completely with 5x10. I didn't really like my game that well with 4.5 by 9, but it seemed like on a 5x10 I had a little the best of it. I just had more confidence in that.
Yeah.
And there was 2 or 3 5x10s in there that we had a lot of action on. Utley and I danced around a little bit several times.
Yeah.
Utley was my first victim when I moved to Texas.
And what year was that? That you?
That would have been about 61 or 2, somewhere in there. I mean, I floated back and forth a lot because my kids and my family were in San Jose, but I pretty well settled in Texas. In fact, Alfie's brother, Jack, and Jack Taylor, and also Jack Terry, I believe were staking Puckett. I'm not sure, but I know Jack Terry was. I'm not sure about Jack Taylor. But no, Alfie talks about it all the time. He says, we've never seen Hurricane One Pocket. That's the way, that's what he called it, Hurricane One Pocket.
Yeah.
To just play to run it out. But Utley was not a happy camper.
Yeah. How was it? Did you guys end up maybe going on the road and hooking up after that? You know, after you seen
I hooked up with Jack and Alfie.
Yeah.
I didn't hook up with Puckett till a lot later on in years, and him and I went several places together. We became pretty good friends.
Yeah.
And I love the old fart. He was one of a kind character. He really was.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, I always come back to Kelly.
That's Ed Kelly, right?
Ed Kelly, yeah. Kelly and I met, he must have been, well, he had to be 19 or 20, because I was 24. I think I'm 4 years older than him or something like that. We met in New Orleans, Louisiana. We're both on the road and we're single.
Yeah.
Just him and I. And we met in this scrungy old pool room somewhere on just outside the French Quarter, and the bottom line is, neither one of us had any money. You know, we had a little mini bankroll, and so finally we match up and play. I didn't want to play straight pool because I never played straight pool, and he played pretty good 9-ball, but we matched up playing 9-ball.
Yeah.
I mean, a session of each. I think it was for like $50. A session of each. Well, I won the straight pool, he won the 9-ball.
Yes.
So we quit and we started hustling around New Orleans together. We had a good time, great time. And he went on home to, back to Connecticut or wherever he's from, and or Boston, I guess it was.
And he was a pretty good all-around player.
Oh, yeah, definitely was. He definitely was. And mind you, this was when he was quite young, you know.
Yeah.
But we met later in later years, and we played a few times. We never really fired each other for big money. We never had a backer or anything like that. We became pretty good friends.
Yeah.
And we just kind of like, Ronnie and him and I never really, after a certain point in time, never really fired each other.
Yeah.
If we did, or if they did, well, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that.
And you also got to play with Jersey Red. That was Jack
Red,
right?
Yeah, Red and I hanging around a lot. We never did fire at each other either.
Yeah.
Back in the when Siegel owned the LeCue, he used to pay us $125 a week not to play anywhere else.
Huh.
And $125 a week in the '60s wasn't bad, you know.
All right.
Every Friday, then $125 was there. But Red adhered to it much better than I did. I was playing all over the fucking place. Wherever there was action, I was going to play.
Yeah, yeah.
So I eventually, you know. But then Siegel, he had another pool room, not a pool room, it was a real nice, classy bar with a few pool tables in it, right over near Rice University. In fact, I heard somebody talking about it here on the forum a while back. But he saw that I wasn't going that I wasn't going to adhere to this. So he made me a manager of that place. What do I know about managing a bar? You know, I don't even know how much booze costs. So, but that was funny. I lasted a few weeks there too.
Yeah. And what other good players did you run into, or maybe go on the road with over the years?
There's, that's kind of hard to say. There's almost everybody that I eventually had a little spurt with. Jimmy Reed. Marino. Medina. Oh, Medina, no. I never went on the road with Medina. Puckett. Jack Terry, you won't know him, but he was quite a rounder. I really had a lot of good times with a lot of good guys. There were very few guys that were assholes to me, or vice versa. But whenever we happened to hook up and we were in the same area, we gave each other spots, or we went to spots together. That's just the way it was.
Yeah, and I think it's still kind of like that today with some of the players. They still steer each other around and hook up and whatnot.
It isn't like it used to be because everything's pretty well up in the open now, But the guys that I hung around with were mostly California based,
Mm-hmm. And now, which scene do you think was better for pool for you during that time, Texas or California, for action and stuff?
Texas, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it seems like it's still a pretty popular pool
it
area.
is. Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana are still pretty good hot spots for the pool. Oh, I got to say something about my good friend Charlie Brown, who you may or may not have heard of. Charlie Brown is one of the neatest guys ever involved in this pool racket. He's a lifelong friend of mine, and in fact, he was best man at my wedding. And Charlie was just a good guy. There's nothing I can say any better than that. But we had some really, really fun times and some tough action. We had tough action. In fact, one time I'm playing Danny Matthews, which his nickname was the Bald Eagle, and Charlie's taking me, and I thought it was going to be the end of our friendship. Somebody gave, I don't know if they jarred us or what, somebody gave me and Danny both something that just blew us off the charts. We were just totally screwed up.
Yeah, they jarred you, huh?
I don't know. Well, but they must have jarred him too.
Yeah.
Because we're both laughing and we're playing for like 100 a game or something.
Yeah.
9-ball, 100 a game.
Yeah, back in what, the 60s?
Charlie's taking me. And Danny misses shot. Damn, how did I miss that? And he'd lead me straight in. I miss it 4 inches. God, Jesus Christ. And Charlie finally got pissed. Said, what the hell's going on here? But that was really funny.
Yeah.
Because we were so goofy. We were both so goofy that we just didn't care whether we won or lost.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
And here's our stake horses are betting 100 a game. That was almost the end of our friendship. We ran around together for a while.
What kind of player was he? Was he just an average type
He
player?
Was, he was better than average. He was a pretty good scuffler. Him and I used to go to the black joints in Oakland, and I don't know how we ever survived. He was so loudmouth and belligerent, I don't know how we ever survived him, but we had a falling out. It wasn't over money. It was over a female, but that's
Yeah.
here or there. What I'm saying is, no, he and I used to get along pretty good until that happened.
Yeah.
But prior to that, when I first started playing him, he was, Tooth is about probably, I'm guessing, 4 or 5 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
When we first started playing, he was like 17. His father used to have a pool, or his uncle used to have a pool room in Hayward, and I used to go up there all the time and play him. Well, he couldn't beat me, but he just rattle, you know, and then finally I'd get pissed off. And one day I'd chase him around the fucking pool table for about a half hour. He just get me so hot. You know, I didn't always win, but I had the best of the game most of the time.
Yeah.
He'd get me so hot I couldn't hardly breathe. But no, then we became friends and we traveled around a little together and shit happens.
Yeah.
He was one of a kind, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
When he was a kid, and this is no big deal, I think just about everybody knows this. When he was a kid, he was like 18 or 19. This is back when they had coin changers in the laundromats and places like that. You know, you put in 50 cents, you get 5 dams or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, he started making slugs.
Yeah.
So, and he was doing real good at it. Finally, he was doing so good that he took a sheet of metal, the right thickness, to this machine shop and had them cut out by the jillions. I mean, just cut out 50-cent pieces. So, a couple years later, not a couple years, a couple months later after he did this, he's hitting every laundromat in the Bay Area. Anything that gives change, car washes, anything. And one day he gets busted. He's driving a brand new Lincoln Mark Continental, and he got stopped for something, and he's got like $3,000 worth of coins there. So, oh, you're the guy that's been doing all this robbing.
Oh boy.
So you wound up doing a few years for that.
Yeah.
But when he came out, that's when we had our problem.
Yeah.
So anyway. Exactly 20 years.
20 years, huh?
In fact, I think it was 88, what was it, 74? I don't know, Steve got it wrong somewhere or another. He said it was 74 to 89. It was 72 to 92 is what it was.
Okay.
But the bottom line is, I was so far removed, I did not even, I never went in a pool room or never picked up a stick. Naturally, I went to a few bars that where I'd get a little feedback from stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when Ronnie played DiLiberto, I believe it was 88 or
I
something
think it was
like
Golden 8 Ball, right?
Yes, it's a Golden 8 Ball. Let me tell you how far out of it was. I did not even know the Golden 8 Ball existed.
Wow.
I didn't even know it was there. Yet I knew this friend of mine, David Lee, that owned the Golden 8 Ball. I knew him, but I had been so far removed, I just knew.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, when Ronnie and DiLiberto played that session that Jay Hilford produced, Weenie Beanie was there, Puckett was there, McCree, everybody was there.
Yeah.
I was working at UPS about 3.5 blocks from the Golden 8 Ball.
Wow.
Off the corner around the side. And I never even knew what was going on. It wasn't very well publicized. I never saw it in any papers. I'm sure everybody in the pool
Community knew.
Yeah,
Word of
what
mouth.
was going
This was before the internet.
I had no
stuff,
idea.
so.
If I had known, I sure would have stopped.
You would have had a field day, right?
Sure, I'd had to say hi to the old guys and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I never even knew what was going on. That's how far I was removed from it.
Freak.
wife.
Your wife. And what did you do during that 20 years?
Worked for UPS.
Yep.
Yeah, got it straightened up, got a square job. And it was, I gotta say, it was one of the better times of my life.
Yeah.
I created a whole new circle of friends and played a lot of golf, played golf every weekend. And, I finally realized that these guys may have had it right. You know, these square johns,
Yeah.
they got a house and a car and a
Yeah.
mortgage and kids and all that, and they're doing okay. And most pool players are trying to make money and sleep in a car, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't say that you really had any regrets of taking that time off because
No.
of the good
No.
life that you led, and you know.
I enjoyed what I was doing
Yeah.
at the time, and I enjoyed it after.
Yeah.
But that 20 years was pretty special. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I didn't regret that one bit. I had retired, and I took a sales job. In fact, I was selling golf cars, which is a big industry around here. And I had a lot of free time. I was a salesman, and I started drifting back into pool again. And I just, I think after a few months, I think I played as good as I ever played one pocket.
Yeah.
During that time frame, about from like 90, 93, 94, 95. I got that one deal with the AccuStats. The only time I'm on AccuStats where I played Cliff. That was
98, right?
98, I believe it was. But I had already started to drift down a little bit by then because I was getting pretty well up in years. But I really think I played my best probably between 93 and 95, 96, somewhere in there.
And how was it playing against somebody like Cliff Joyner? Was it what kind of player, what kind of strategy do you have to play somebody like that? Because I know he's a pretty.
Well, obviously, I had almost zero firepower. I mean, he could run balls till the cows come home. My only strategy was to try and keep from giving him a shot.
Yeah.
And which
just keep out moving him
if you call it out moving, just not give him a shot. And I guess Artie Burdendorfer style.
Yeah.
But when you realize you can't shoot with a guy, that's the only defense you have. I would think, I don't know what else. Didn't know what else to do. It was I was very lucky to win that match. I'm sure that Cliff probably could have played me for the cash. He could have played me 9-7 or something like that at that time. But I felt like I held myself up pretty good. I missed a lot of balls, but I apparently made enough.
Yeah, right. Enough to win. About it.
Well, I felt very good, and I was honored, and I just hope that it wasn't all because of my involvement with onepocket.org that got me in there, but I voted for Buddy the last couple times.
Yeah.
I thought Buddy had really done a pretty good job of adjusting his game. And I consider it a great honor. I hope I'm deserving of it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, as you said, playing so close to Ronnie Allen, because, I mean, back then, without the internet and all that, nowadays, everybody knows who's won what. They could see the matches, and, it's a lot easier to know how someone played the game, And I guess we're lucky in that aspect, you know. How great would it be to, you know, have a videotape of, you know, players from
There's not that's something we're never going to see. And
so the only thing we have is stories and you know,
that's true.
And that's all we really
and
have.
I wish you know, I wish I could add more to it, but there is no we didn't walk around with a camera. You know?
Yeah.
Nobody had a camera.
Now everybody's got a camera.
I don't think there was a video camera even available then, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's great that I really feel it's a great thing that yourself and other guys are interested in what
the past.
transpired in the past. You know. It doesn't mean that anybody played it better than anybody else, you know. It doesn't really have a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's part of our past in one pocket, and it's great that it.
Yeah, it's good that, you know, we have a site like onepocket.org with Steve Booth and what he's doing to kind of preserve, you know, the history and the players and the games.
Exactly.
Because that's important, you know. I mean,
there's nobody who's done any better job than Steve as far as
he's
keeping
fantastic,
things alive. You know.
You know, because it's, you know, the history of the game itself and the players. That's very important for people to know and to have that, you know.
I totally agree.
So, I mean, even though we don't have a physical Hall of Fame, you know, yet, you know, for, you know, the One Pocket and Bank Pool Hall of Fame, you know, I think, you know, that might be in the future, you know, if they have a billiard Hall of Fame someplace, they can incorporate it together where it's a physical place where people can go and see the history of the game and you know, the trophies, pictures, and just different things, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty interesting to have.
Exactly. Yeah. It's you know, when you look at pool in general, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, straight pool or 9-ball or one pocket. There are those that excelled at whatever their best game was, you know, and there are those that couldn't play worth a damn at the other games. But the bottom line is they all had the skill and the what's the word? They all had the balls to get up there and play with anybody at their particular game.
Yeah.
Okay? It doesn't matter what the game was. It really doesn't. To me, it's just, you know, whether it's Crane versus Balsas or whether it's, you know, Eddie Taylor versus John Brumback, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They're all champions and they all deserve their place. That's the way I feel. I understand that. John's my bud. I love John. But bank pool is for sissies. Bank pool is for guys that can't play shake, for Christ's sake, without having to bank something. No, I tease. I know bank pool and I tease Freddie about this a lot. Bank pool and stuff it's a good game. It's a great game. But I have more fun belittling the game than I do not belittling it.
Yeah, I think it's the game with the least amount of luck.
Yes,
for sure.
It's probably true. You know. That's probably true. Yeah. Except maybe One Pocket. I think One Pocket's right up there with that too.
Yeah.
John Brumbeck says, what does he say here? Well, this is after he gets me to commit on why I don't like. Ask him if he wants to play some short rack banks at the DCC. Just cheap. Play some $1,000 a game. Minimum. $1,000 a game. However, I will want several banks. John's my bud. John's okay.
Yeah, we had fun with John out there in Vegas during the One Pocket.
Yeah.
You know? He could hang in there a little bit.
Yep. Well, you know, that's always been a tough question to answer, and I don't know how to answer it because you know, guys like Scott and Alex, you know, and You know, they're so good at what they do. You know, I'm not sure that any of the old guys could have beat them. You know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not, because it was a little different game then. It was a little more. Even Ronnie and Jersey Red and guys like that didn't play the style of one pocket that they're playing now.
Yeah.
Today.
It's almost like run out one pocket.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And,
So,
I mean,
you know, you have to look at that and say, well, if Ronnie or Richie or myself had to compete against that, well, we would have played the same way. We've had
you would have stepped your
forced
game
to
up.
play-
Yeah.
we would have
and
forced to
you
play
would
the
have been
same way.
able to do execute
We'd
the
have
same
just,
things.
we'd have just had to try harder.
Yeah.
We may not have won, but you know,
Yeah.
we'd have been competitive.
Because I mean, I would say Scott Frost is probably the closest player to somebody like Ronnie Allen. You know, when it comes to an aggressive style or
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
today.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what to say really about, because people will compare Efren and Ronnie, them playing one pocket.
Yeah.
I think it's I don't know if it's really the same kind of style of play. I don't know how you could describe Efren's style of play.
Different style of play is different style of play.
Yeah.
He is an amazing human being that he plays as well as he does
Oh yeah.
with not necessarily playing the right way. He doesn't necessarily play the right shots. He just plays so good that he
Yeah, he finds a way.
overcomes it.
yeah,
He
finds a way
overcomes
to
all
get
that.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, we experienced that when we were in Vegas last year.
Yes,
The USF
yes.
one pocket. He was playing
Yes.
Corey Deuel. And
Exactly.
Corey Deuel had that game.
I know. Well, Corey Deuel's the one that made the mistake there.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Corey Deuel was never supposed to lose that game.
No, but
he did.
Efren hung in there and then
Yeah.
and ended up getting it, and then
Well, it's
went on to
called-
win the tournament.
It's called the Efren factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like the Frost factor.
Yeah.
But that's, you can talk about all the different styles of play and all the different good shots that guys make. It really doesn't matter. The only way that you're ever going to find out who the best player is a long session.
Yeah.
Like a race to 21 or something like that.
Uh-huh. And they could probably come back a year later, do it again, and the other guy could win. So
it
it's
might
kinda,
turn around.
yeah.
Yeah, it might turn around.
as somebody's game evolves, because I heard somebody like Scott getting spots from Cliff Joyner and Efren of like 10-6 or even bigger than that, maybe even 11-5 when he first started playing the game. And then to go from that big of a spot to playing them even and winning, and I think even recently spotting Cliff, you got to say that it's like, somebody's game can really evolve and change. I mean, just probably as yours did when you first started playing one pocket. You probably really started to play it well as you went along.
Yeah.
Well,
that's just that's the way the game is, and you can BS around and do all this and say this and say that. You're not really going to find out where we're at. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, you can't resurrect.
No,
the
because
dead. You
there
can't
are-
bring back.
There are guys that play better under pressure. There's guys that don't give a shit. There's guys that play better with stake money. There's guys that
Guys who sharp better.
Oh, yeah,
it's just,
sure,
and
sure.
it's like, it's
Let me tell you something. I do not think. I really believe this. I do not think that I would ever have become the player that I became, whatever that is, without 50 years of running.
Yeah.
He taught me more about the game,
Uh-huh.
but he also taught me more about how to overcome the shark.
Yeah. Hey, he seasoned you, right?
Once you play Ronnie,
Yeah.
there's no shark in the world like Ronnie.
Yeah.
There's no shark in the world. That's just the way it is. That's the way I've always felt, anyway. I was almost immune to his shark.
Yeah.
After,
You've
after
seen it all, right?
30 years, I used to put him back on him pretty good.
Yeah.
I do it the same way you do. I just watch him play.
Yeah, watch them hit balls and maybe check out their mechanics and stuff.
Exactly. It doesn't take that long to tell
where somebody
whether
is.
a guy, you may not know his exact speed. So as far as player speed goes, I don't see how any good player would have trouble judging another player's speed, if you had time to watch him for a few minutes. Sometimes all you need to do is watch the way they hit the ball. If the guy is going to shoot a shot that's the risk is worth the risk is counter to the reward, it's the wrong shot. If you make it, okay, that's cool. But the bottom line is in one pocket is risk reward. And one thing that I see amateur pool players do, not amateurs, but people who are not really zeroed in on the game yet. And I've seen you do it a couple times. Let me tell you something. So maybe you can make a bank. You got an easy one reel, side reel bank, okay? There's no telling how much better you'd be off if you just barely missed that bank and locked that up behind the stack. That is one of the strongest things in one pocket.
Yeah, instead of just making the ball.
Yes.
Because they can't get at the ball, they have to kick at it, they have to spot the ball.
Not only that, but I'll just say the angle is just right where you if you make the bank, then all you got is another duck, which is okay. That's not all bad, but you can really, really trap somebody if you lay the ball in the hole and
keep moving
the
forward, right? Yeah. Yeah, and then you wait until you have an opportunity, and then you got several balls as opposed to just one or two.
There you go. In my opinion, one of the most necessary attributions of one pocket, or necessary qualities of one pocket, is imagination.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, you're screwed. You are screwed. You have to be able to see, you have to look over a table and see where your best opportunity is to put him in the worst spot he wants to be in.
Yeah.
And it's I'm not saying it's easy. It comes easy to me, but it may not come easy to somebody who is not familiar with the game. I don't know how else to explain it.
So there's certain players that just take to the game quicker, easier than others. And you got maybe a straight shooting 9-ball player who can count to 9 and run the balls, but you put him at one pocket, he just can't figure it out. And maybe never will figure it out.
Yeah, and maybe never figure it out. Yeah. But most good pool players, I will say this, most good pool players, assuming they play good 9-ball, good 8-ball, most good pool players will eventually learn one pocket. Look at Shane. How much he's learned in the last few years.
Oh yeah, he's won back-to-back one pocket.
The man is a quality pool player, plays all games well. Now he's starting to play one pocket well.
Yeah.
And that's a little advanced. I'm not saying that, what do we have? A couple of years ago, we had him and Earl, right? And then last year, who did Shane beat?
I believe it was Joey Gray. I believe that's who he beat in the finals of the one this past year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, bottom line is apparently Shane has learned enough about the game to where his cue ball control and his accuracy have overcome a lot of things. You know, he's not stupid. He knows what he's supposed to try to do, and he's doing it pretty well.
Yeah, and he plays all the because that was an unlikely matchup to happen with you know, the year before last was you know, Earl and Shane. I mean, you couldn't have picked those two to be in the final. I mean, you could have gotten 100.
Never picked it in 100 years now.
Yeah. And you know, and it was you know, I mean, Earl had his chance. He
it was an interesting match, and
a lot of firepower. You know,
Earl just got out of line a little bit on one shot, and that cost him the game.
He said I think on the shot it's online somewhere, I believe, the match, and he didn't he drew the cue ball instead of following through. And he got stuck.
He
made the ball, but he got trapped and didn't have another shot, and he's trapped, and all the balls are on Shane's side, and it was kind of.
Well, see, a seasoned one pocket player would not have gotten in that trap.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away from Earl. I'm just saying a seasoned one pocket player never would have. You wouldn't have gotten that spot.
Yeah, you're gonna.
I mean, you might not have run any more balls, but you wouldn't have gotten that spot.
Yeah.
You know. But that's the way one pocket is. It's in my opinion, one pocket is probably, I think, the greatest pool game that was ever invented. Naturally, I'm prejudiced, but that's. I don't know what game could involve
more aspects of every game.
Yes, but the other thing is, there is a question on here about that too. I don't know where it is, but I forget exactly how it was worded. But the people that play one pocket to the extreme, that play it real good, are not necessarily shot makers.
Yeah,
they're thinkers. They're thinkers, and they know what they need to do to get in the best position to win. First of all, you can't learn the game in a couple of years. You know.
Yeah.
Most people tend to be too impatient with their learning process. I think that 5 or 10 years is a good. You know, if you don't know what to do by then, you're probably never going to know what to do.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's imagination, and it's what to do in any given situation, you know. Especially when you get balls up table. That's really hard to learn. It's hard to, you can't teach it. You can't teach it, you know. So I don't know what to say in answer to your question. I just think that the guys that do grasp that, they grasp that situation, those are the guys that are going to be successful. That's what I think.
All right. Well, thanks for the interview, Dick. I appreciate it.
Let's hope we do it again sometime.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good.